Hello, I'm Emily Glasser, President and CEO of Achilles International, and I am thrilled to introduce you this evening to our guest speaker, Mel Robbins. Not only is Mel an international best-selling author and a sought-after speaker on the topics of behavior change and motivation, but I am honored to call her my very dear friend. Get ready for a wonderful, wonderful program with Mel, who's going to instruct us in resilience, in hope and possibility, and how to be our best selves. So without further ado, I pass the baton to my very, very dear and cherished friend, Mel Robbins. Mel, on to you.
Can you feel it? I'm alive again. Take back the power. Breathe it in your skin.
If you change your decisions, you will change everything.
You can improve your life any way that you want, and we're going to show you how you do it. This rule was my secret weapon for a long time, and now I want to teach it to you.
Hey Malcolm, your podcast on Audible, right? Mel Robbins.
When you choose different thoughts, things start to change. I want to teach people a simple way to discover power that's locked inside them.
Emily! Oh my gosh! I got the baton! I love it. You know, you may not know this about me, but I ran the mile relay. I was number 3 in the mile relay in high school. So this is bringing back memories. I got the baton. Thank you so much. Hello, Achilles International Nation. How is everybody doing? My name is Mel Robbins. I am so honored to be here. If you don't know me, I am an international best-selling author. I am best known for inventing a brain hack, very simple little brain hack that I'm going to teach you today. That is called the 5-second rule. We're going to get into that in just a minute, but I wanted to start off by just congratulating all of the amazing athletes that are going to be participating July 10th in person, more than 4,000 of you in person in Central Park, and thousands more of you in virtual races around the world. And so high five to you. High five to you, baby. And the reason why I want to take a moment to celebrate you is because you've done the hardest part when it comes to personal growth, when it comes to changing your life, when it comes to being the best that you can be. And that is, you started. You signed up, you have committed, you have trained, and you are ready, whether you like it or not. And so I just want to take a moment and acknowledge that you did what you said you were going to do. And now the day has come, the race is nearly here, and you should celebrate the fact that you are ready at the starting line. And so there were decisions and commitments that you made. There was courage and confidence that you had to tap into in order to get yourself here. So do not rush past this moment. Take a moment and really honor what it took for you to just sign up, what it took for you to train, what it took for you to say, yep, I am going to do that. I am going to be part of that hope and possibility race. And I'm here because I want to empower and equip you with some science-backed tools that you can use to not only be the best athlete that you can be, but to be the best you that you can be. Before I jump into it, I just want to take a moment to also acknowledge the title sponsor of the race, TD Bank. And I want to thank the New York Roadrunners, folks who are going to be helping so much on race day, leading up to race day. So thank you to everybody who made this extraordinary event possible. But most of all, you make sure that you thank yourself. You know, we are all so good at celebrating and supporting other people in our life. And I think back to, I used to do road races way back in the day. I have not been in a road race. Oh my gosh. I think it's like, I didn't even look at the math, but it's well over a decade. And one of the highlights of my life was participating in the New York City Marathon. And the only reason why I finished that race is because of the people who lined up along the sides and were high-fiving me every step of the way. When those blisters came in around mile 7, I wanted to quit. It was the slap of a stranger's hand that woke something up inside of me. At halfway through, 13 miles in, I stopped and was trying to get the folks who were working at the water station to agree with me that I should quit the race. Thankfully, the New York road runners then were like, quit the race? You're halfway there. You got this. Keep going. High five. For me, we have all given other people high fives throughout our entire life. A high five represents celebration. It says, I see you. It says, I'm with you. It says, I believe in you. What I want to do today is I want to give you simple tools that you can do to give that exact same celebration, belief, hope, possibility that I'm with you. I want you to give that back to yourself. I want you to support and encourage yourself because there is so much about you that is worth celebrating. And what research shows is that the most empowering force on the planet isn't tough love. It's actually encouragement, love, and support. And so if you are like I am, you're probably pretty hard on yourself. You're probably sitting here a couple days before the race, allowing yourself to get nervous. You're probably sitting here beating yourself up about what you didn't do. We're going to teach you today how to flip that, how to change your mindset, how to adopt new habits. Because when you start to see the good, when you start to encourage yourself every single day when you wake up, no matter what you're facing, you tap into that inner confidence that you were born with. You tap into that well of resilience and strength that is within you. And here's the interesting thing about all this is that you don't build confidence, strength, and resilience at the very high moments of your life. You actually build those things during the struggles. It's the challenges that shape you. And, you know, one of the things that's really amazing, given that there's going to be an in-person component to this race, is that it allows us to stop and reflect about how much you've grown and how far you've come in just the last year. There hasn't been a challenge in your life that you've faced that hasn't made you a stronger and wiser and better version of yourself. And so I want to equip you with the ability to also see the good, cheer yourself forward, give yourself what you need in terms of support, and flip your mindset into a mindset of hope and possibility. And one of the most powerful tools that is going to help you do that is something that I created during one of the worst moments of my life. It's called the 5-second rule. And I mentioned it already. It's a simple little brain hack, and it has a tremendous amount of science behind it. And you can use it to push yourself to do just about anything that could change your life. And I'm going to explain it in just a minute. But I also want to thank all of the athletes who submitted questions via social media. And so after I explain the 5-second rule, we are going to get to your questions. And I know it's going to be questions that you can relate to. And I am going to take the obstacles that you're facing. I'm going to show you how you can use the 5-second rule and some science-backed tactics immediately in your life to unlock the possibility, even in light of the struggle that you're facing. So I'm super excited to get started. So let's start with the 5-second rule. The 5-second rule is very simple. The moment you have an instinct to do something, you only have 5 seconds to move on it and take action. If you don't move within 5 seconds of an impulse, your brain will kill the impulse to take action. You see, psychologists say there are 2 types of people. People that have a bias toward taking action and people that have a bias toward thinking about doing something. And what I have discovered in my own life is that if I have an idea, I need to get out of bed, I need to start exercising, I need to sign up for the Hope and Possibility race, I need to have this conversation with my boss, I need to put the alcohol down, I need to do my physical therapy, I need to draw a boundary, I need to start writing my memoir. It could be anything. The moment I have the idea about what I need to do, if I don't start taking action in 5 seconds, the thinking about it leads to a moment of hesitation. And I'm going to show you something. There is a 5-second window that defines your whole life. It's a 5-second moment of hesitation where instead of doing what you need to do, you think about what you need to do. And as you start to think, your thoughts carry you away and you go from being present in your prefrontal cortex to this part of your mind taking over. Now, I'm going to tell you a quick story because I invented the 5-second rule 12 years ago during the worst moment of my life. And here's all you need to know. My life was so bad, I couldn't even get myself out of bed. We were almost $1 million in debt after a failed business that my husband had started, and we had invested our entire life savings in. We were about to lose the house. We were fighting all the time. We had 3 kids under the age of 10. I never thought that my life would look like this, about to be bankrupt and divorced and just struggling with alcoholism. And I knew what I needed to do. I knew I needed to get out of bed. I knew I needed to find a job. I knew I needed to stop screaming at my husband. I knew I needed to stop isolating myself and feeling sorry for myself and feeling shame and regret about all the mistakes that I had made. But knowing what you need to do is the easy part. The secret is knowing how to make yourself do it, particularly when you're scared, particularly when you're frustrated, particularly when you feel lost. Now, I didn't know what I know now. Back then, I just felt stuck. I felt trapped in my mind. I felt buried alive by our problems. And I was so scared and frustrated. And then one night I was watching TV and I was sitting there saying to myself, tomorrow, Mel, it's got to be the new you. You have to change. You can't just keep screaming at Chris. You gotta find a job. You got to do something. And by gosh, woman, you can't hit the snooze button 4 times. When that alarm rings, you got to get out of bed. And then all of a sudden, this rocket ship launched across the television screen, and it gave me this crazy idea. I thought, what if I launched myself out of bed? What if I moved so quickly that I wasn't physically in the bed when the anxiety hit me? Well, the very next morning, that's exactly what I did. The alarm went off. And I immediately remembered this idea. I'm going to launch myself out of bed. And here's something that I want to show you. There's this 5-second window that I'm talking about. It's a moment of hesitation, okay? It's this moment between knowing what you need to do and actually doing it. And this is where you kill all hope and all possibility. It's where you think things to death. And all of a sudden, your subconscious and your fears take over. See, I knew what I needed to do. The alarm went off. I thought, I was going to launch myself out of bed. And then I started thinking about it. But I don't want to, but I don't feel like it. But, what difference is it going to make? I'm so in trouble. I'm so in debt. How is getting out of bed going to help? And the more I thought, the less motivated I felt. And then I did something I had never done before. I just started counting backwards, just like NASA does to launch a rocket. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And all of a sudden, I stood up. It was weird. The next morning, the alarm went off. I immediately started thinking about it. I don't want to. I don't feel like it. It's cold. It's dark. You've had mornings like that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm up again. The next morning, the alarm goes off. I don't want to. What difference? Who cares? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm up again. And then I made myself a promise to change my life. If I was in a situation where I knew what I needed to do, but I didn't feel like it, just count backwards and see what happens. That is the 5-second rule. How it works is profound. And this is what I've learned in the 10 years that I have been sharing it with people. That basically, you have all kinds of patterns of behavior that are holding you back. Patterns of doubting yourself, of procrastinating, of feeling stressed and frustrated, of talking negative things. This is what's stopping you from unlocking hope and possibility in your life. You are capable of achieving anything. It is your thinking that is blocking you. The patterns up here. When you count backwards 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you interrupt those patterns of fear and anxiety and self-doubt and procrastination, and you awaken this part of your brain, which is your prefrontal cortex. This is where all possibility is, because your prefrontal cortex is what you use when you're taking a test, when you're learning new behavior, when you're acting with courage. It gives you control over what you think and do next. Now, I've used the 5-second rule to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get out of bed, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, to change every habit, to find a job, to change how I showed up in my marriage, to change my stress level, to stop snapping at the kids, to go into big business meetings and be amazing at negotiating, all things that I used to be terrible at. You can use 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to push yourself to do the things that you're afraid to do. And just this past year, I got one of the most powerful testimonials I've ever received. I know that you're going to find this incredibly compelling. And I realize here in the United States, the pandemic is slipping behind us. But this is such a powerful testimonial that I wanted to make sure to share it with you. It came from a woman named Nurse Jen, who was working in a hospital outside of New York City right when COVID hit. And she was an ICU nurse. And she wrote to me about how she was using the 5-second rule to manage her stress and her anxiety on the job as she was caring for patients in a COVID ICU unit. Check this out.
I can tell you the very first day that I was a COVID nurse, we have to put on all the garb that you see on the media. I have a mask, I have a head wrap, I have goggles or a face shield, I have a gown and 2 sets of gloves. So when you put all that on, you're already hot and can't breathe. I walked into my first COVID patient room and I closed the glass door. And all of my support, anybody who can hear me, is on the other side. All of my supplies, if I don't have them in the room, they're on the other side, and I'm not reopening the door. I literally stood there at that door and I thought, oh my God, I can't breathe. Oh my God, I can't breathe. And I thought of like an astronaut being out in space. Like the first time you're out in space, you probably feel the same way. Like I can't breathe, there's no air. And then I took a breath and I said, I can breathe. And then I thought, I'm not breathing too much. Oh my God, do I have COVID now? My brain said, Jen, this isn't worth it. You can open this door and walk out, take off your garb, quit your job, keep walking till you get to the parking lot. And I stood there and I don't know why and where it came from inside me, but I said 5, 4, 3, 2, and I turned my body back to the door, back to my, back to the glass. And I said 1, and I physically moved, which is what you tell us to do. You put it out there before your brain can stop you, move in the direction that you need to be. And so I literally said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I dumped my supplies on a table and I looked at the list that I had written on a paper towel and I got it done. And if I could get it done in one room, I can get it done in another room. I can do it again. I can do it in 3. I can do another day. And I still use it.
This is a moment in time that is calling forth the courage inside of all of us. And that's what you're using it for. You're using it to call forth your courage in 5 seconds flat when you start to feel fear and overwhelm take over. What do you want those of us that are not working inside a hospital to know about the reality of this virus and what you're seeing?
I want everybody to take this seriously because it is very serious, but it's not going to be forever. This is temporary. We can do this.
Don't you love her? And here's what I love about Nurse Jen. She's so positive. And here's the other thing I love about Nurse Jen. She's right. It was temporary. It is temporary. And that is the kind of attitude that unlocks hope and possibility, that you got this. You do have the ability to meet any moment in your life, to rise to any challenge and to get through it. And the other reason why I love using Nurse Jen as a powerful and inspiring testimonial is because if she can use the 5-second rule to manage her stress and fear in the days of working in the ICU unit with all the COVID patients on ventilators, I think you and we can use the 5-second rule and the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown to interrupt our fears and interrupt our stress and interrupt our obstacles and excuses, particularly the ones that we buy into up here that are holding us back. And speaking of stress, I now want to jump into all of the amazing questions that we got submitted from you on social media. And our first one is from Jose.
Hello, my name is Jose. I live in New York City. My question is, how do you cope with stress, and how can I find help if I have a lot of different obstacles?
Jose, thank you so much for your question. So first, let's just define what stress is, because, when people say the word stress, I think it involves a ton of different things. So when you say stress, what I want us to all be thinking about is that stress is stored tension in your body. That's what stress is. It is when you hold on and you experience pressure in your body. And so there's a couple things that I'm going to recommend based on the leading experts' advice that is about what you can do in a physical sense to manage the tension in your body. So first things first, it's really important for everybody to understand that you have this superpower inside of you called the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is one of the most powerful things at your disposal when you know how to use it. It runs from your pelvis all the way through your body and every major organ up to the tippy top of your brain and through your vocal cords. And your vagus nerve is the on-off switch between your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous system. Your sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight, stressed out, on edge. When's the other shoe going to drop? I can't take it anymore. We've all been in that state for at least a year. When you have a lot of stress in your life, you're always bracing. You can feel the pressure in your body. What we want you to do is to develop some practices that are grounded in science that help you cool down that stress response in your nervous system and activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the sort of chill zone that I like to call it. And the secret to doing it physically is the vagus nerve. And anybody can activate the vagus nerve. There's a million ways to do it. Some of my favorites are you can sit, you can lie down, soak, sit, whatever, in a hot bath. That tones the vagus nerve. You can take your hands or your arms against your chest and press against your heart, and you can say, I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm loved. By pressing against your heart, the vagus nerve runs right through every major organ. And by saying those words, I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm loved, if you can say them, if you can think them, if you can hear yourself thinking them, you know it's true. In that moment, no matter where you are okay, you are safe, and you are loved. Another way to activate the vagus nerve, humming. Singing is another way to activate it. Taking 5 deep breaths, another way to activate it. These things sound simple, but they have a profound impact on your physical state because they're shifting your body from a state of being on edge to cooling it down and activating the parasympathetic nervous system. The other thing that you asked about was, how do I ask for help when I have a lot of different challenges? You don't ask for help singularly. What I want you to do is I want you to write down on a piece of paper, get it out of your head, Jose, because I think the other thing that causes a lot of tension in our bodies and a lot of stress is storing and thinking about everything and using your brain as like the receptacle to hold on to everything. I want you to get a practice, whether you're dictating it with a piece of equipment, or you are writing it if you're able to write, or you're typing it if you don't, or like to handwrite, or again, you can dictate it. I want you to get into a practice of writing down the things that you're stressed about. So there's 2 different things that you can do here. You can do what I call a brain dump, where every morning, part of your morning routine can be to just dump out on a piece of paper or, into dictating everything that's on your mind. Just dump it all out, because half of it's garbage anyway. Get it out of your mind. And then once you're done, I got to get a birthday present, and I got to call this doctor, and I got to sign up for the Achilles race, and I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I got to get to work. Once you got it all out, is there anything else? Is there anything else? There's nothing else to dump on that piece of paper. Then you're going to do the most important part. You are going to ask yourself, well, what do I actually care about, and what do I want to make progress on today? And you're going to identify one thing that you're going to make progress on that matters to you. Because research shows that the difference between having a good week or not depends on whether or not you feel like you're making any progress on the things that matter to you. And oftentimes in life, what causes stress is we get so just hijacked by everything going on and everything around us and everybody else's priorities that we lose connection with what matters to us. We start to feel last on our own list. And so this simple practice of doing a brain dump every morning and identifying the one thing that matters to you to make progress on is a way to reconnect with what matters to you. That's also going to help you feel a little less stressed because you're going to feel a little more certain and a little more in control because you are now taking time to focus on what matters to you, and you're taking time to figure out how to make progress on it. When it comes to asking for help when you have a lot of obstacles, break down all the things that you need help with. Because I think a lot of times, at least for me personally, is that when I start to get really overwhelmed by a ton of different things that I'm facing, I become paralyzed by the amount of stuff. But if you take the time to break apart all the various things that you need help with, if you can see them one by one by one, oh, I need help with this aspect of my apartment. I need help with this aspect of dealing with a doctor. I need help with this aspect of something going on at work. I need help with this aspect of the disability that I live with. When you can break them apart, they start to feel smaller. And now you are better equipped to ask for the help that you need and that you deserve. Thanks for asking that question. I hope that helps. And by the way, this is where the 5-second rule comes in. You're not going to feel like doing any of this. You're going to get back into your life and be like, well, that was stupid. I don't want to. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do the brain dump even though you don't feel like it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Break apart those things even though you don't feel like it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ask for the help that you need even though you don't feel like it. That's how you do it. Tools only work if you use them. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 will interrupt the habit of thinking about what you need to do. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 push you to actually do it. All right, let's go to a question that we got on Facebook. What can I do in the morning to start my day and stay focused? So many times my mind or distractions happen. Every one of us struggles with this. And here's the opportunity for you to unlock tremendous possibility in your life. And I hope that you listen very keenly to this advice because this is a big deal. I'm sure you've heard a lot of people talk about morning routines. The reason why you hear it all the time is because it works. How you set your day up is how it ends up. And when it comes to focus, there's a tremendous amount of research that explains why your morning routine is the single most important aspect of whether or not you are able to manage distractions and focus on what's actually important. Because when it comes to focus is not the ability to laser in for hours and hours and hours on something. Focus is the ability to manage distractions and direct your attention where you want it to go. And so your morning and your morning routine is everything. I am going to walk through the simple steps that I follow for my morning routine. What's also critical as you listen to me explain the simple steps and the science behind it is that you customize your morning routine to work for you. You can use the 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, to push yourself to do these things that I'm suggesting, but you also want to make sure that your morning routine and the promises that you're making and keeping for yourself are aligned with what you actually want out of this chapter of your life. So for me, rule number 1, my morning routine starts the night before. And it starts the night before because before I go to bed, I get super intentional about what time I need to wake up tomorrow exactly so that I have enough time to set myself up for success. So I set my alarm the night before. And when I set that alarm, I'm not just setting an alarm. I am making a promise to myself, Mel Robbins. When I set that alarm at 5:35, like I did this morning, so I could go to a boxing class with my daughter, when I set that alarm, I was saying, Mel, I promise you, I will get out of bed when that alarm rings at 5:35. You're going to hear me say the word promise a ton. And the reason why I'm going to say the word promise a ton is because your mornings not only will help you be more productive, will help you take control, your mornings are also the way to build simple discipline in your life. They are a way to create a partnership with yourself. It's a way to create a muscle and a habit of putting yourself first. And you do all of those things by making and keeping promises. Because if you can wake up every single morning, whether you're waking up at home or in a hotel or at your parents' house or at a friend's house, and you do the same series of simple promises, you will always wake up feeling like yourself. You will always wake up knowing that you have your own back, that you can rely on yourself, and that you're the kind of person that does what you say you're going to do when it relates to the promises you're making to yourself. So set the alarm. That's number one. Number two, the night before, my phone is not in my bedroom, period. Unless you need that phone for medical reasons, because there's somebody you need to call to help you get out of bed, or you have an app that's helping you manage something, do not put that phone anywhere near you. And the reason why is because tomorrow morning, when that alarm rings, I don't want you to wake up and to look at it. Part of the reason why you can't focus is probably because you let the world into your mind before you've even set up your day. We're going to get to that. So, number one, set the alarm very intentionally every single night. Number two, plug the phone in somewhere else unless you need it for medical reasons. Put it in the bathroom, put it on the other side of the room, put it in the kitchen. Just put it anywhere but in your bedroom. If people need to reach you in case of an emergency, you're a single parent, you've got a job that requires you to be contacted in the middle of the night, just tell people, hey, if you need me, call me. Don't text, don't email, because I won't see it. Call me if there's an emergency. Because what I've found is people will Snapchat you and text you and TikTok you and email you all through the night. But they only call you if it's an emergency. So the phone is elsewhere. Now let's go to the next morning and let's see what happens. The alarm goes off. I have an old school alarm, so I just turn off the alarm. And then this is what I do. I put my hands on my heart. This goes to Jose, and I start my morning this way every day. Put my hands right on my heart, and I go, I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm loved. There are some mornings I do it once, and it's so nourishing, and it just like, calms me down. It focuses me and draws my power inward. There are other mornings, I say this like 57 times, for whatever reason. And it will calm you down. It will soothe your nervous system. And then I use the 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I get out of bed. So when I get out of bed, right after doing that, when the alarm rings, I just kept my promise to myself. Boom, I got a win. High five, Mel Robbins. The next thing I do, I make my bed. It's not the world's best bed making method. Throw the sheets over, kind of karate chop the pillow. But I started making my bed originally so that I didn't climb back into it. I now make my bed because it's a way to keep another promise. It's a way to start my day by doing something and finishing it. It also is amazing because then when I walk back into my bedroom in the middle of the day, I don't see a mess I have to contend with. And when I come back into the bedroom tonight to lay down and dream, I have a beautiful spot to do it. So make your bed. That's promise number 2. High five, Mel Robbins. See, we're creating small wins and momentum that are so easy to do to breadcrumb you into your day. Now what I want you to do is head into your bathroom. When you get to your bathroom, you're going to immediately notice, oh, there I am in the mirror. This is promise number 3. I don't want you to ever leave a bathroom again in the morning without giving yourself a high five, a high elbow, a high shoulder, whatever you can do in the mirror. You see, you have cheered and celebrated everybody else for your entire life. And you know what most of us do when we look in the mirror? You look in the mirror and you're like, oh, I hate these. What are these lines in my neck? And you've seen these little dots that are going like this. And oh, my widow's peak. And oh, gosh. And I don't know. I look old. And my gray hair that's coming in. You like pick yourself apart. And if you're not picking yourself apart, what are you doing? You're brushing your teeth while you're like looking at your phone. And you're getting stressed about the news. Or you're looking at everybody on social media and thinking, oh, my God, I'm behind in the race of life. You're not doing that because you haven't looked at your phone yet. Your phone is plugged in somewhere else. You are to go into that bathroom and you are to give that person that you see reflected back in the mirror, you give them a high five in whatever version you can. A nod, a shoulder, an elbow, a high five, whatever you got, you do it. And the reason why is I want you starting tomorrow morning to start building a partnership with yourself. There's one human being that you will go through life with, who will never leave you, and that's you. And most mornings, You don't even look at yourself. And if you do look at yourself, you criticize yourself. I want you starting tomorrow to start to give yourself the love, the celebration, and the support that you give to everybody else. But I want you to start your day by giving it to yourself first because you deserve it. Now, here's the other thing about this. If you have a lifetime of being hard and critical and stressed out and like nasty to yourself, the other thing that giving yourself that high five does is it overrides decades of negative self-talk because you have a lifetime positive association with high five and other people. So when you raise your hand to yourself or your elbow to yourself or your shoulder to yourself or the kind of head nod to yourself, you are giving that exact same positive, I believe in you, I see you, we got this, I got your back. You are giving it to yourself. It's impossible to high five yourself in the mirror and think something nasty. Ooh, I look terrible. Ooh, I'm a loser. Oh, I'm awful. You can't do it. It's neurologically impossible. So without saying a word, you're going to war against your negative self-talk. And that's some powerful stuff. And by the way, that's promise number 3, kept. Now what I want you to do, whether it's in your kitchen or if you're in a studio apartment, go to like a little, section of your apartment that's just for you. And I want you to have some kind of mindfulness practice, some way to wake up for yourself, some way to put yourself first. For me, I have a journaling practice that I do where I dump out everything that's on my mind. This is exactly what I told Jose to do. I then identify the one thing that matters to me today that I want to make progress on. And I write down 5 things that I want. And the 5 things that I want is really cool. And again, you can dictate this. If journaling isn't your thing, meditate, chant, pray, do something outside. Do something that awakens your mind and gets you centered. Set an intention. There's new research that shows that simply setting an intention first thing in the morning changes how you show up for the rest of the day. So some kind of mindfulness. And one of the reasons why I always write down 5 things that I really want is because when you do that, and particularly if you get them on paper or you dictate them onto a computer or a phone, you pull those things from the subconscious part of your mind and you bring them to the front of your mind. You activate a part of your brain called the RAS that helps you now spot opportunities to get those things. And so many of us also don't give ourselves permission to want things. We stand in our way. We say, oh, I couldn't do that. I couldn't write a book. I couldn't summit that mountain. I couldn't run that Achilles race. Yes, you can. You can do anything you can put your mind to. You can solve any problem you're willing to work on. So nonsense, stop it. So if you can do those things, if you can get up when the alarm rings, if you can soothe yourself, if you can make your bed, if you can get into that bathroom and symbolically high five yourself, if you can have some kind of mindfulness practice, if you can identify the one thing you're going to want to make progress on that matters to you, you have just kept all these promises. You have created a series of small wins. You have put yourself first. You have centered yourself and given yourself a feeling of control and predictability in a world that's very chaotic. And you have aligned your mind on the things that you want. Now you can pick up the phone. Now you can read the news. Now you can look at work emails. If you've got 1,000 friends on Facebook, which I think is what the average is for most people, would you want 1,000 people to walk into your bedroom first thing in the morning? Of course not. But that's what is happening when you start reading their posts. So start putting yourself first. And all the science says that it will help boost your mood. It will help you stay focused and motivated and energized. All right, now let's go to a great question from our racer, Olivia.
Hi, my name is Olivia from New York. My question is, so I have a difficult time sleeping when I know I have a big race or a big meeting coming up. So I want to know how I can avoid that mentality so that I can get a good night's rest and be effective.
Oh, Olivia, I love this question because I used to have the same thing before speaking at a big event when I was new to the speaking business. I also would have the same thing when I had an early morning flight that I needed to catch. The reason why you're having trouble sleeping is because your mind is spinning and your body is all stressed out. So everything that I explained that stimulates the vagus nerve will help you. Having a bedtime ritual is super, super, super helpful. So I like the 3-2-1 rule, which is 3 hours before you go to bed, stop eating. 2 hours before you go to bed, stop working. And 1 hour before you go to bed, no screens. There's also a lot of research about having a ritual like a herbal cup of tea or a warm bath or a warm shower, having the room cold, having the shades drawn or an eye mask so everything's really dark. These are all things that start to signal to your body that it's time to sleep. But what you're really needing to conquer is your mind. And this is where the 5-second rule comes in. So as you're lying in bed and you've had your bath and you've done the 3, 2, 1 kind of get into evening routine. You know, if you think about this, when we were all kids, most of our parents or caregivers kind of got us after dinner, get upstairs and take a bath, get your PJs on, you get an hour, then we read the book, then we tuck you in. That's a way to prepare your body to go to sleep. So this is what I'm recommending in terms of the physical stuff. But the mental stuff is, I think, what's really the issue. So whether it's subconscious or conscious, your thoughts are looping about what's about to happen. You're having performance or stress anxiety about the thing that hasn't happened yet. So here's what I want you to do. If the thoughts are very active and you notice that you're going, oh my gosh, I'm not ready for the race. What's going to happen with the race? What if I have to go to the bathroom? And what if the blah, 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 what if it rains? What if it's cold? What if it blah, blah, blah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm not thinking about that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm not thinking about that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm not thinking about that. You're going to train yourself to interrupt negative thoughts. That's number 1. Number 2, now you want to replace it with something positive. And what you want to use is some research out of Harvard Medical School. It's called reframing performance anxiety. You're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, not thinking about that. And then you're going to say, I'm so excited about this race. I'm so excited about this meeting tomorrow. I'm so excited to get this presentation over. I'm so excited to show up at this race. And one of the things that that's going to do is when you use the word I'm excited, excitement in your body and stress in your body is physiologically the same experience. The only difference between excitement in your body and stress in your body is what your mind is saying about what you're feeling. So you could have butterflies and be lying in the dark in bed, ready to go to sleep. And if your body is feeling fluttery and stressed and butterflies, and your mind's going, uh-oh, I got a race tomorrow, I'm screwed, you're not going to sleep. If your mind goes, I'm not thinking about that, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I am so excited that I signed up for this race. Because I know no matter what happens, I can count on myself to have a great time. That's it. By saying I'm excited, again, you trick your body and your mind because you are feeling the same feelings as if you would be excited. You're just calling it nervousness. Now, I didn't make this up. This is from Harvard Medical School. This trick works. This is how I cured myself of nerves before any kind of speech that I ever gave. I just say, I'm so excited to do this. And if you don't quite buy the excitement, say I'm excited anyway, and then say, and regardless of what happens, I'm going to be okay. And I think you will be surprised that when you start interrupting those spiraling thoughts and you settle down your body and you remind yourself that you're excited and that no matter what comes, you got this, you're going to do great. The next question is from Aga. How do I stay motivated to train for something that I don't know if it's even possible, like getting qualifier time for Boston Marathon? So Aga, here's the thing about motivation. It's complete garbage. You're not going to be motivated. And that's okay. Do it anyway. This is the heart of the 5-second rule. The things that you want in life are going to require action. They're going to require you to show up when you don't want. That's what dreams and goals demand of you. So stop waiting around for motivation and just push yourself to do it. You don't need motivation. You've got the 5-second rule. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do it anyway. And the action is what will get you to achieving that goal. Stop waiting for motivation because it's garbage. It's never there when you need it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do it anyway. All right, let's go to another question that we have from Andrew.
Hi, my name is Andrew. I'm born and raised in the Bronx, live in the Upper West Side, and I'm a member of Achilles. My question is, what do you do when your closest friends and family don't approve of your lifestyle? If they don't think running is great and they think it's like just a needless way to risk injury what do you do to overcome that?
Andrew, I love this question because when it comes to changing your life, when it comes to unlocking all the possibility that you are meant to create in your life, you are going to upset some people. You're going to scare some people. Because what happens when you start to change is it makes other people reflect on where they're not changing. And I would imagine that your family members and your loved ones, based on the way that you are describing this question, that it's not that they disapprove. It's actually that they're just scared and they're worried that something's going to happen to you. That's all that it is. They've probably spent their lifetime worrying about you, and it's a habit. And what they don't understand is that what you would really love is for their support. And so there's only two things for you to do about this. Okay, you ready? Number one, have the honest conversation. Sit down with your family members and tell them how much it hurts you to not have them cheering you on and celebrating you and supporting you and pushing you as you take on these new challenges and you continue to run and you do something that makes you feel amazing. That's number one, because a lot of times our family members don't realize how their concern actually hurts us. And when they understand that, they might be able to change. Here's the bigger thing though. This has been a huge breakthrough in my own relationship with my family, and it's this. People can be disappointed or upset or concerned or not like what you're doing, and they will still love you. So just because they're not cheering you on doesn't mean they've stopped loving you. And it also doesn't mean you should stop doing what works for you. You are not responsible for your parents' happiness. You are responsible for yours. And if running and if being physically active and being a member of Achilles and doing things like the Hope and Possibility race are what inspire you, you keep going. Oftentimes when we change and when we grow and when we find our courage and unlock all of that inside of us, it can really confront the people who care about us because they have a certain vision or expectation about how they think life is going to go. And when you don't match that, they're not going to like it. But that's okay. That's okay. You got the entire Achilles International family cheering you on. You've got yourself able to cheer you on. And as long as you continue to move in the direction that empowers you, it honestly doesn't matter what other people think. The only thing that matters is what you think. So sit down, have the honest, raw, real conversation about how their lack of support and how their concern is impacting you. Make a request about what you want them to do differently, and then give them the choice to show up differently or not. Regardless of what happens, you do you. All right? Awesome. Let's go to our final question, which is from Melissa.
Hi, my name is Melissa. I'm from South Brooklyn. I'll be 59 this coming Monday. I'm looking to overcome all my medical problems and to do my first walk run from Jeff Galloway on July 10th. And next March, I'm planning to do my first biathlon with Achilles with Andrew and Francesco.
Oh, Melissa, I love it. I wanted to just take a minute and acknowledge you and all the participants who are doing their first ever walk, run, or wheel, or just participating in the race, however it is that you are showing up in the Hope and Possibility race on July 10th. I am raising my high five to you. I also want to point out something. Did you notice what she said at the end? That next March, she is already committed to doing her first biathlon. I think one of the simple secrets to living a more fulfilled and happy life is having something to look forward to. A mile marker out in the distance that pulls you through this moment and gives you something to work toward that's bigger than the challenges that you're facing right now. So in addition to acknowledging how far you've come, celebrating the fact that you've signed up and you've done the hardest part and you're ready for this, in addition to enjoying July 10th, whether you're in Central Park or you're participating with thousands of athletes virtually online, and make sure you use the 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, to interrupt those negative thoughts. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, to do the small things that change absolutely everything. And I've given you a ton of takeaways and a ton of things that you can try. I want to make sure that you're also looking ahead, that you're putting mile markers out into the future that really inspire you, because that is one of the simple secrets to creating hope and possibility in your life. When you're able to look up from where you are and see something out in the future that gives you hope and creates greater possibility, that's how you grow. So for all the participants, I hope you have a great Hope and Possibility race on July 10th in Central Park. Thank you to TD Bank, our title sponsor, and go Achilles. I'm going to pass the baton now to you.